So there's that.
What in God's name was that? Holy, was that like, I didn't realize this was really the Dustin Coiner show. Holy crap.
I mean, it's that podcast, right? So
I guess so.
Ken Hill, dude, we talk all the time, but it seems like it's been forever since we've done one of these, right?
I know. It's just everything gets away from you, and off seasons get shorter. There's always more to do, and there's always more shit going on. So yes, it's good to be back.
The off seasons get shorter.
God, I know they do.
I mean, do they get shorter, or are we just finding way more shit to do like before the season starts?
Yeah, good question. I mean, our off season was a little. We were off a little bit more this year than we on the team side, a little bit more than we've been. And we were actually going to be testing at Jennings next week. We were actually getting ready to do that, but the weather's a little bit too chilly. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we've got 8 days scheduled in end of January through end of February. We've got 8 days. So yes, things are happening. So,
dude, I gotta scumbag you into doing that masterclass stuff with me at Podium Club.
We need to do it. We got to do it. You got to give me a date, and we got to make it happen.
Yeah, we'll make it work. I think it'd be badass, and I think doing it at Podium Club would be epic to bring that level of game to Arizona. You know,
I mean, the bottom line is Podium Club is happening. Right? The things that's going to happen in the next few years with that track is a big deal.
Yeah.
I'd love to be there. I've never been there, but I think it'd be really, really, really fun. And the masterclass thing, it's funny because the off season, I have so many different projects that I'm working on, but tightening up that program is one of them.
Right.
And so yeah, it's honestly, it's pretty freaking cool.
Well, I've been working on, I talked about it on the show last night, but I've been working on a bunch of like motorbike safety stuff at Buttonwillow Raceway. They have the new track. It's got some safety concerns. And of course, they send the old hat to go, like the dude that's been their customer for 25 years to go jump in. And also, I've dealt with airfence crap before. So it's quite the project, but we're going to make it work. So, we can get out there and have a good time.
I'm stoked for the new track, right? I mean, I know it's obviously been such a long time in the.
Oh my God. Like I've got 1,000 laps there in my truck in the dirt, on my bicycle. Like, I'm like, man, I know if I go through here, it's like a miniature this, like it's neat.
I think it'll be fun. Yeah. And I'm glad to see that sort of that safety committee stuff come back, and I did a bunch of work with the AFM back, which I know we're going to talk a little bit about club racing, but we had a little safety committee deal back in the day, even at AFM, and going and visiting the tracks ahead of the race weekends and writing up a report for them. So I'm really glad to see something like that.
Yeah. So I'm kind of spearheading that. And you know what, man, like everybody's in, like I reached out and basically all the track day groups that go there are in. And I think there's, even a CRA guy, LGB is involved in that too. And I was like, hey guys, this is what we're doing. Because everybody was kind of freaking out about it. And I was like, look, guys, I got to share with you something I've been working on for months. Like I was kind of keeping it quiet until I had to let it out, because there was questions. People were like, the thing is, and this is something that I learned working for a publicity firm for as many years as I did, is that you could either write your own story or somebody else will tell it for you.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is that, when it comes to these items, the tracks just don't know, right? And they especially don't know from the motorcycle perspective. Yeah. And, I did a lot of work at the Ridge, right? I consulted with the Ridge quite a bit on some of the things that they had going on there. I helped design the chicane actually at the Ridge, and it was all on, they just don't know. So if we're proactive in doing these things, more.
Yeah. The thing with Buttonwillow, it's like the Buttonwillow management's very keen on the motorbike people. They realize that we're basically half their customer base, right? Yeah. So they're super keen on making improvements or whatever. And, however it went down, or however the reason why there's a fucking wall in that one area, like I have no idea. And I'm lobbying to get them to bulldoze it, but I don't know if that's going to happen in 3 weeks. Right. So I mean, I think Buttonwillow is going to be working round the clock all the way until their first car event, which is the weekend before mine. So, it's a whole thing. But you know what, man? That's enough of that
I
shit.
know we got so much to talk about. Holy crap!
I mean, look, over the break, and I'm gonna call it. I don't care. Like, I don't have any skin in any of those games, and I have nothing to gain or lose by talking about this subject. But I saw a lot of stuff from a couple of clubs over the break, and there's a lot of ridership stuff, and I don't know what the riders are thinking that are going to accomplish by airing the race club's dirty laundry out in public. But I mean, it's some pretty wild accusations from both AFM and MRA, and it's just kind of dirty. I was like, man, what the fuck's going on with you people, right?
Yeah, it's. I mean, AFM was my home club for whatever 20 years, and I
Right.
was on the board of directors at AFM. I can't remember the years. 2000. I don't know. 3, 4, 5.
Back in Nam.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. And so, yeah, I do have a little bit of working knowledge, and it's funny how there's always the same problems, right? How do we keep riders, and how do we make the point of entry easier?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit my opinion that what ends up happening is that they're so focused on problems that aren't for the actual customers, clients, the riders. They're all in the weeds on things that really don't matter, or they're trying to hold the same people in the same positions, whatever it might be.
Yeah, Mean Girls Club shit is what I call that.
It's not inaccurate. And so I again, just being at AFM back in the day with that, I mean, just getting the production pipe thing changed with 20 years of having to run a production pipe in the production class. I mean, it took years to get that simple change done. Adding, getting bikes to mimic in the production class, to mimic at that time the AMA rules. I mean, that was a whole process, right? So just very simple things that you and I were like, oh, that makes sense. Done.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, I mean, I've seen, specifically MRA and AFM have kind of they've AFM's not. I don't think their whole schedule is the 1-day race weekend thing, but I think MRA is 1-day race weekends. And my buddy Coop, who unfortunately broke his leg last month on my birthday,
He got thumped.
poor guy. So Coop, I guess, is gonna do the track day thing, leading up to however the weekend goes down. But I think Legion, is this company's, Legion Moto. They're gonna run like the practice or whatever, and then the MRA is gonna race the 1-day. And I'm like wondering if they're seeing what they are doing, what they really need to do to address why they're hemorrhaging ridership. So I reached out to CVMA, Richard Stamp, aka Cowboy, and Stephen Ludwig is a back end guy there at CVMA, and I was like, hey man, Ken and I are going to be talking about this stuff tonight. Like, what do you got for me? And you kind of hit it on the head, like right when you started talking. But they said, hey, the biggest thing with us is we're putting the ridership first. And then instead of having a rule book that's ebbs and flows with the tide, theirs is made out of concrete. So
yeah, I mean, it was So just a quick little sidebar that I mean, so some comments, right? Jeff Rose, right? AFM classes are a talking point at tonight's board meeting. Yeah, I mean, Jeff, just to get back in the day with AFM, it was as simple as looking at entries, historic information on entries, and going, okay, for the last 2 years, this class has been dead. Why are we keeping this class? Right. But yet people want this other class at that time, honestly, I think we had like it was a 600, like a 650 production class, which was for like the twins, which were, SBs were huge at that point.
Right.
And of course, it ended up being an incredibly successful class, but it's like, well, we've had these class for years, so we're going to keep this class. And it's like, no, that's not how this is not how this works. But getting that idea across was incredibly painful at the time.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody knows, like, I have a unique perspective from this because I've both been on the other side of the fence, the racer, but I've been on the start up a club from scratch thing. And I think, CVMA actually confirmed that they're still kind of this way, but when you're newer, it's easier to be nimble, and you can make a huge mistake. You can have a giant fuck up, like, oh, that didn't work, and you can literally turn the boat 180 and go a different direction. Whereas clubs that have been around for a million years, like AFM and MRA, dude, it's like trying to make a U-turn in a cruise ship, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I remember that I remember we had the board members had to like make some sort of a decision like end of Saturday practice or something like that. And it's like, well, we need to change that rule. It's like, well, you can't change the rule. No,
Yeah.
the board is sitting here right now. We can change the rule. And even that mentality was very, very difficult at the time to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I've got a bunch of notes from AFM board member Jeff Rose.
Awesome.
So, he was like, lack of change, communication issues, leadership, lack of operational organization and structure. I'm like, what, dude? Like, he's got a lot of ideas there that, may be part of the reason why they're hemorrhaging. I see things in simple terms, right? Like, I'm the guy that started a race club with the audacity of trying to do it with a one-page rule book.
Yeah. Well, your deal. So it's really simple. Your deal is what can I do for you, not what can't I do for you.
Right. Yeah.
And that is still sort of the mentality that we have, right? Is what.
Yeah.
It's like, Cody's got a great point there. It's like, run a stock master cylinder and super stock, but like, on the professional level, and I understand it's a professional level, but there are so many motorcycles that come with subpar master cylinders for performance track use. It's literally a safety item.
Yeah.
This is not brain surgery for, whether putting an R6 master cylinder on it or a freaking Brembo for safety.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is yeah.
When I started CVMA, there was like, I was right there at the cusp of it. I was involved with Michael. It was me, Michael Gugis, running all of it. And I tell you what, man, the biggest thing when we started it was that back then, a lot of the clubs were protesting people over stupid bullshit. And I was like, dude, okay, like, there was a lot of rules about, like you said, the master cylinder stuff, the double bubble windshield. I'm like, dude, are you really gonna like take this dude's win away because he had a double
my
bubble?
first podium? My first podium, they disqualified the second, third, and fourth place guys on Honda F2s because even though we had our license plate bracket on, we had trimmed it, and they said that was a modified license plate bracket. So I never got my first podium because of my license.
Yeah, there WSMC had some stupid shit too. Like, if you had a superbike seat, you were not legal in Supersport. Like, like the one-piece tail section with the that was a big deal back then, right?
We want people to stay in the sport, and
right.
I get it, right? We got to have a rule book, and we got to have some standards. I get it, but there also has to be a way that we have to realize that we've got to make it so we can get everybody in here participating and make the cost of entry easy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing that, like, something that doesn't help much is like the cost of everything keeps going up. Like, don't even get me started on what my TrackDaz insurance is for 2025. I thought I was like gonna have a heart attack. I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, what are we doing this for?
There's a reason I got out of the TrackDaz business.
Yeah. So the costs have gone up. So a lot of riders don't realize that anything beyond what they see right in front of them, and the cost of everything has gone up astronomically, and that's everything that you do on the racetrack. So you got to make it so it's fun, and you got to, like, I always thought that you got to make the ridership feel like they're a part of, like, they want to belong to your thing. And so, like, I always made it so, like, my vision always was like, dude, I want cool trophies, I want championship awards type ceremony stuff. I want class structure that any moron could look at, and based on the bike they're riding, they're like, yep, that's the one I'm going to be in. Like, Weira's got the worst class structure because they have the A, B, C, D, whatever the hell. Like, I don't even know what the hell that is. But, if you make it like, with CRA, like, my idea was 600, thousands, twins,
Yep.
little bikes.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, you want to be able to give people
simple.
the opportunity to ride 2 or 3 times, a race day, right? And make
Right.
it so they could be competitive in those classes. And yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely some structure and there's some math that needs to be
Yeah.
done, but
Yeah.
it is doable. And again, I think, again, if you look at the market from, wait, 20 years ago when I was on the AFM board, it's a completely different market. So you don't the rules have to change to reflect the class
Right.
structures and the cost of entry and
Yeah.
all those different things have got to be looked at to make it easier. That's if you
Yeah.
don't change, right?
Like if you're wasting valuable time during the race weekend to hold a bunch of races with 3 bikes in them, there's the first place you swing the axe,
Yeah, I mean the cost per
right?
lap of that is insane
Right.
to me. So
Yeah, so, like, low attended classes, you gotta ditch those, and if you find that if you look at your data, let's just say I'm just gonna say the 600 race, right? Like, I'm not saying that's it, I'm just using it as an example, but let's just say your 600 race has, like, 35, 40 bikes a weekend. Don't you think those 600 people might want another race on the weekend?
yeah, I mean you want to right. It's it. You want to
Take
give
those people's money, give them more shots to race,
yep. Yeah, and then
right?
work with your sponsors to be able to sponsor those classes and give
Yes.
people different types of opportunities.
Yeah, that's one thing I saw. I mean, look, people used to ask me for years when I was still involved in CVMA, like, dude, you guys, this is really funny. I feel like I almost could take credit for CVMA getting money too, because like we started the CRA thing and I got a bunch of sponsors and the money, like legit money. And right before we had our first event, CVMA started paying. So I was like, huh, look at that. And so, having the club go and actively seek sponsorship to give people, even if it's like a couple $100, if you have opportunity to win something, I think truthfully, I think your premier classes should pay like more than that,
Sure.
right? Like 1,000 or 1,500. I like my goal always was like at least 3 grand, but it's hard, especially in this fucked up economy. It's hard to.
Yeah, and again, if you look at it as a whole, right, there's a way, hopefully, for the club to be able to go let's look at this as a total and see what we can do, and even, I mean, people are still, if you've got a premier class or premier classes, doesn't matter
Yeah,
if it's 1,000 or if it's the freaking Ninja 400 class, doesn't matter, right?
right,
If you make that sort of a premier event, then the club, hopefully, if they're on board with that, will help support that, whether it's with a little bit
right.
extra entry fee for it or whatever it might be. So anyway,
Yeah, I don't. You know what? On for the new riders, I think, in my experience, experienced racers, some of them give a shit about trophies, but a lot of them don't. They're like, I don't need that taking up space in my house. And so you would spend all this extra money on cool trophies, and the riders wouldn't come pick them up. Like I thought that was kind of disrespectful of the riders to do that, but for amateur guys, like every club I see this too, there's like that hierarchy, right? So like when they have like the old, $10 repurposed soccer trophies in that the club bought in bulk, and then they come up with something new, then all the old crap gets thrown at the amateurs.
yeah,
And the amateurs are what feeds your club, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, club racing. We could definitely talk about that forever. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, I think
Yeah,
they need to make the cost of entry easier. They need to be able
yeah,
to keep these people and be able to be just a little bit more flexible on
yeah,
some of these things. And again, it goes
yeah.
back
Like,
to,
and be fair with your rules
yeah,
application, and have the shit set in stone, and don't like make up the rules. Like I had a buddy of mine that did an endurance race at Vegas like years ago with Wira, and they had shaved the end of the front fender a little tiny bit to help with the wheel speed changes. And mind you, there was like they were racing against like factory Suzuki, right? Because like that's for a team, and
sure,
there was
sure,
another team as well that had like, you know, so they had like basically like a factory team running like an endurance race, and my buddy's team got DQ'd for that stupid fender, and they're reading the rule book, and it's like, oh, like it wasn't there, but the race director ruled against them anyway so their guy could win. Chuck Wall used to do that shit too when Mickey was still involved, like he would try to do things to make sure that, the guy that he wanted won,
Yeah.
So it was dirty,
Well,
I know a bunch of writers that left over it.
yeah. Well, hopefully
You
we're
know?
seeing some improvements with those things. And
Oh,
again,
100%.
it goes back to like Cowboy, right? Having Cowboy.
Dude, Cowboy is
Well, it's
on it.
just like he's doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
so I think that's if he goes back to just doing the right thing, then
Yeah.
that it starts with that.
Yeah, and the way it's set up too, like I guess, nowadays Jay, the race director, when he makes a decision, that's the decision,
Yep.
right? Like it's not like somebody above the guy like overriding him when that person cries, right? So like being consistent, that kind of stuff. Like you said, dude, I could talk about club racing
I
all
know.
day.
What else we got? What else? I'm sure we got a gazillion things to talk about.
You know what, man? You've been doing a bunch of like what do you call it? What are you
Substack,
doing?
yeah. So yeah, I mean it's funny because I've had the podcast for years, and it's funny, I haven't put out a podcast in about a year because
Yeah.
I moved things over to Substack. And yeah, I think I have 48 Substack articles now in this first year. So
I think it's at this link right here.
oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Jeez. But the whole idea with the Substack is the podcasts are great. And I'm actually going to be doing a different version of the podcast here probably next month, where I'm going to take the topics that I've been writing about and make them into shorter podcasts. That way, when I look at the podcast analytics, you can see how people are using them. And so I'm going to cater to that a little bit more. But yeah, I'm trying to do a little bit more writing where we've got some things on paper, and I'm trying to incorporate them with videos, and I'm trying to use data more.
Yeah.
And, I'm trying to just be a little bit more concise with my language. And, the whole idea was in Kurt, I saw your message in there. Yeah. My whole idea was I was going to write it, thinking about writing a book. And when I submitted some stuff to some people that were helping me look at a book project, the problem is I have enough information for a lot of books. And the problem with writing a book is that everybody thinks, oh, you just write a book and it's no big deal. Well, the book that I'd like to write, and I'd like to do it, proper, for me to write that book would cost me about $75,000. Cost me $75,000. And then of course, then you've got to work on getting it published, and that's going to take you all this time to get it back. Well, the problem is that, yeah, I can do that, and it's going to take me a couple years to do that, and I got to spend the money. But how many people do you really reach? And
right.
I want to be able to reach as many people as I can.
Dude, I saw that TikTok, man. You could put it on Amazon and you'll get rich quick, dude.
Oh yeah, so
you got to make it a kid's coloring book.
Good God, it's so easy, right? So this is a good way. The Substack has been a really good way for me to take different topics and really break them down and make them really concise. Like the last one that I have is when is it time to address setup, right? So that started off as over 3,000 words, and then got whittled down to 2,500 words, and got whittled down finally to about 1,600 words. Is
the time to address setup when your bike starts misbehaving?
Well, you should read that. You should read it.
Okay, you're gonna make me read. Great.
Yeah, I'm going to make you read. It's actually a pretty good article. I mean, it took me. This was kind of like it takes years to get all the information and put it together. But yeah, this particular one was when is it time to address setup? So I'm trying to do in the Substack is have, like, for instance, I did a 3-part series on motor controls. And that was another one that ended up being crazy long. It's like, oh, I'll talk about motor controls. Takes 5 minutes. No, that was another one that was crazy long, and I made it 3 parts. And so I wanted to break it down into certain like chunks that were digestible. I have another one that I'm working on right now that'll come out in a couple of weeks on feel references. So like, what are feel references, and how do we incorporate feel references? And all, so that's these are, I think it's a really good project for me to be able to take the things that I do and be able to, again, share them with people. And, it's, if people can get on my Substack, that's great. It's a great way to support what I do. And hopefully, a lot of things that I'm doing, like I have another article that's coming out probably after the Feel References one, is all on from people giving me feedback of what they want to hear. So yeah, it's more trying to customize basically what people want out of the riding and driving community, and giving them
I love how you say the riding and driving community, because you're doing both now.
Yeah, it's funny how much they overlap. It really is. It is interesting. Yeah, last year, I mean, as far as me being on track, last year was for me personally the least that I've been on track by myself. Like me riding or driving was the least I've been on track in 20 years. And so this year's got to be quite a bit different. So I'm going to be on track quite a bit more, and it's probably going to be 70% bikes, 30% cars.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I have seen you tooling around in like a Camaro and stuff.
Right? Putt around a little bit.
You putt around a little bit. Yeah.
Putt around a little bit.
Yeah. Like I'm not really a car guy. I'd love to be a car guy, but I'm a motorbike guy, dude. I don't have time for anything else.
Cars are so fun. But you have to remember, in my world, I started off with cars, right? So cars are kind of the first love for me. And so I love cars, but I mean, bikes are infinitely more rewarding. I mean, it's not even in the same, it's not even on the same planet.
Like I made a little video the other day about how easy it is to come to the track and how you don't need a race bike to come enjoy the track, And I talked a little bit about how great the bikes are. I mean, it's like, and I use 2015 as the number, but like fucking ever since like 2015, right? Like the thousands are insane. Yeah. Like all of them. They're bananas, dude.
Let's linger here for a bit, because well, let's talk about this.
Did I set you up for something?
No, well, okay. So first of all, I mean, I know that I teach, riding and driving techniques, and that's fine, right? That's what I do. But I'm a complete gearhead, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm a total gearhead. And I mean, it's funny because I really don't care what I can find something good in any motorcycle that I ride. It does not matter.
Yeah.
You can put me on whatever, a Ninja, a 2006 Ninja 650, and I'm great. Put me on a Ninja 300, I'll have a great time. Put me on a, whatever, 2001 R1, great. Let's do it. It doesn't matter. And part of it is, when you do have good riding technique, you can ride anything. It doesn't matter. And that's sort of my thing is, any bike, any track, anywhere, anytime, doesn't matter.
Right.
And so, yeah, bikes, everybody's jacked up that they got to have the latest and greatest. And
right.
I mean, you said it, like since 2015, good Lord.
I mean, dude, I'm such a needy bitch now. Like, I don't even want to ride a bike without auto blipper and stuff.
I know, but it's funny. I was looking at,
and I got good at blipping the throttle. I was like good at it, and then auto blipper came, and I was like, never mind.
I was looking at some data and some laps that I did at 2014 at Thunder Hill on a stock BMW 1000, and they're not going really any faster now. And that bike, that was actually before auto blip. On that particular bike, and they're so good. So people get jacked up about that, and I think that the point of entry is getting people to come to the track with what they have and be able to accommodate that and ride, because I can have a great time on any motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, like I brought out that other podcast guy, Ryan from Horsepower Rodeo. Dude, he had some like 500 Honda, whatever the hell that thing was. And you know what? At the end of the day, his like goofy ass had like the biggest grin on his face, and it's not like a latest, greatest, whatever. And I've seen a dude with a Virago. Like a dude came out on a
bring it.
Thing is like tying itself up in knots through Riverside, but he comes off the track grinning ear to ear. So
I mean, some of the best times I've ever had riding have been when you get 2 or 3 guys on Ninja 400s and all stock type of bikes, and they're literally the best days. And so, the bike really doesn't matter. I mean, I get it. I mean, I
don't like to ride slow bikes, dude.
No, I know, but
angry, wheelies everywhere. Like I do it because I want to have fun doing it. And when I ride a turd, I'm just like,
Well, you know, I bought that Triumph, right? And I love that Triumph. So I've got that Street Triple, 2024 Street Triple, and
Okay.
I love that bike. I'm super happy with it. And, you know,
Yeah.
I've ridden it a few times I rode it at Jersey, and then I rode it at Nelson Ledges. And bone stock, 100%
Yeah.
bone stock with Q5s. I got with less than 10 seconds off of Skoltz's pole time at Jersey. And I mean, this is a stock bike. Yeah. Oh yeah. So fun. So fun. But,
Wow.
but to your point is because I'm a gearhead, I am jonesing for a new bike. So yeah, I am coming down the list of what bike that I can afford.
I'm like, do I just need to put wings on my R1?
Oh my God. Well, you get a 2025 R1.
Dude, because I'm poor.
Well, no, you get your freaking bikes for free.
Yeah, but
See,
like I'm gonna get
I gotta pay
25.
retail for
I'm gonna
mine.
get 2025s pretty soon. But I'm saying like for my personal bike,
Yeah, I get it. I
But
get
dude,
it.
I like on my birthday weekend, I literally just rolled a stalker out of the garage,
Well, they're so good. They're so good.
Shilly and I, my staff guy, we rolled out there and we spent the entire weekend on like OEM
Oh,
stock
they're so
bikes
fun.
with tires.
Yeah,
Put Pirelli tires, good to go.
I like
right?
to hear comments on people asking or people suggesting what bike I should get next.
Yeah,
I'd be
I mean,
interested in this.
like there's so much, right? Like, what would you get?
So
KTM?
that was funny. The problem is like I
Yeah,
want
you see my hat, right? Like,
I want
I
a new
mean,
leader bike.
like R9, bro.
I want a new leader bike, and
Yeah,
the problem is that I can find something good in all of them. That there's
yeah,
something. They're all, even the older CBR 1000 is an incredible bike. I mean,
right.
that is such a great motorcycle. So they're all amazing. So it's like, oh, ZX10, I can find something good in that bike.
Right.
You know, new BMW, awesome, great. I mean, there's new R1, great. So they're all
Yeah.
good. But anyway, yeah, I would yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Like you like I just need to get one of everything. Is that what you mean?
Well, I wish. So the problem is I got spoiled doing magazine tests
Mm,
because, you know, you get to ride all of them and don't have to buy them, but nobody does magazine tests really anymore. So that part of it kind of sucks.
right. Well, nobody reads magazines anymore either. So, right.
There is that. There is that.
I mean, that's it's so weird. You walk through the grocery store and there's still the magazine aisle in the grocery store. I'm like, who the fuck is buying this crap? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a dying thing. It's
it's
actually dead.
unfortunate.
It's
Yeah,
been dead. It sucks. But
it is unfortunate. So
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the bike thing. Yeah, I'm a total gearhead. I want to buy a new bike. There's so many cool freaking things out there.
Dude, I think the R9's like looks way better in person than it
Let's
did
talk
on
about the
the
R9.
camera. Huh?
I mean, you've obviously been there. I mean, I haven't been at a test where there's one. I mean, I've got some
Dude,
knowledge on the bikes, and I got to see
they
motors in action.
when they rolled those things out of the rig, I was like, holy shit, the front of those things look legit, dude. They look like a little GP bike.
So, I mean, I know you've got some information on how they tested.
Yep,
I've got a little bit of information on the European testing, and they're, I
they're
mean,
fast.
they're getting it done.
They're
Um,
fast. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think, yes, they got some teething issues, but
Right.
you know, they're going to get balanced somehow. But the bottom line is the things are looking pretty legit for out of the box, which, I mean, you look at the people that are involved, especially here in the US, the people that are involved with them, the people that are involved, actually even in Europe, right, that are involved at the factory level. These
Right.
bikes are no joke. They're no joke.
Oh yeah, dude. Like they are. I mean, Skoltz. I said it on the show last night with Ricky Bobby, but Skoltz was within like 2 seconds of Bobby and Jake.
Let's put it this way: he was faster than any other 600 or new gen time out there by a large margin.
Yeah, because I mean, the weather was kind of shit the last time those guys were testing, and I have the data on my laptop, but I think it was like Jake Lewis, the Altus guys, right? The
Yep.
Gixxer 750s, and I think Aussie Dave, and I think they were all like, I think they were in the 32s, I think. I mean, ish, right?
Yep.
It could be high 31s. And within the first session, basically, both Blake and Matt were under that. And then, Matt is a just a maniac, dude.
Yep.
The guy is, dude, he's intense.
Yeah,
I've known that guy for several years now, and I've never seen him like this. I was like, he was fired up, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with him before, and when you turn him loose to go run laps, I mean, I don't know, again, I wasn't there, but he'll run some laps. Like, he'll stay out there a while.
Oh yeah.
And he'll work on figuring stuff out. And I mean, he rode with us, multiple times, and you give him a goal, or you kind of give him a target.
Yeah.
And he is not going to back down. He's going to get a way to figure out how to get there.
Yeah. And Blake was a little bit off from that, but not a ton.
No, give Blake time. Yeah, give Blake time. This is a new environment.
And you know what? The kid is like, he's his race intelligence is like way up there. So like when you start asking him questions, he's just like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa, kid. I asked you this, dude. Like, I don't need the novella.
Blake came from a great environment. I mean, a fantastic environment. And, he's going to go to this next level, and, things will get broken down a little bit more. His riding will get broken down. He'll be able to calm down.
Where'd you go?
You there?
Oh, you had a little Taco Bell internet moment.
Oh yeah, don't know. But anyway, Blake is going to be just as he matures and he gets into a professional, a really high-end environment, he's going to be trouble.
Yeah. So, I mean, like that guy, I've had him on the show as well, and he was talking about how his struggle last season was with getting up to speed quick. So he would get up to speed over the course of the weekend, but it was like he was not up to speed quick enough to like be where he needed to be in qualifying. And so he worked on that, and you could see he worked on it, because towards the end of the year he was getting better again. So I'd like to see some more of that of Blake. And the Strack team is a strong effort. They're basically like a factory representative.
No, they're the factory. They're the factory.
The factory super sport team.
Yeah, new gen team.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll see that's part of. Well, first of all, a rider learning that's a completely trainable thing, right? Getting up to speed quicker is completely trainable. And if you look at Matt, if you go back to even look at Road Atlanta with Matt, they had so many bike problems. He missed literally a day and a half.
I was there, bro.
Yeah, and then
you were too.
Then he really didn't even get to ride until Q2, and yet he ended up qualifying, and then of course doing pretty well. But yeah, getting up to speed, they will tune him up on that, and that's something that's completely trainable. And he'll do fine. Yeah,
I mean, I just I hope for the best there. Like, what do you think? How do you think Superbike's going to go? I mean, you were talking to me offline about last night's show and how we were kind of feeding the rumor mill a bit.
Well, first of all, we were completely off base on 2024. To be clear.
Yeah, you can go ahead and say it.
Yeah, I mean, we both got punched in the face on 2024.
Oh, 100%, dude. Yeah. We thought Baz we both thought Baz was going to be a threat, right?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is that, Heron can ride a motorcycle. There's never been a dispute about that. It was just always putting the program together.
Right.
And you got to call him out for doing a great job. I mean,
dude, he smashed last year,
and
and the thing is about him is that he didn't send it to trying to win and throw it away or something. Like, he took third when he needed to take third.
Yeah, dude. The maturity he had this year was honestly, I
was like, who is this guy? Like, I haven't seen this guy ever.
He finished when he needed to finish, but he was fast when he needed to be fast.
Yeah.
And that was impressive. And that's something that we obviously we knew that he had the bike to do it, and the team around him also. I mean, unbelievable team.
He also proved everybody wrong. Like a lot of people said that the Ducati wouldn't work on the Dunlops, and that's why Petrucci and the other guys got beat up, and he somehow figured out a way to make that thing work on the Dunlop. Yeah. So maybe that was all bullshit.
Yeah, no, he did. I mean, the bottom line is he got it done. And I mean, the other riders, I mean, obviously Cam getting hurt. You know, Jake having
Both Cam's getting hurt, right?
both Cam's
Right.
getting hurt for sure. Jake having his issues.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see JD, you know, perform. When JD came
Me
out,
too.
when he started the year, I mean, he started off, I was like, holy crap, he's battling for a podium here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was like, this is fantastic. But yeah, it just never, whatever reason, it just didn't quite gel with him.
Yeah. Like speaking of JD, he's gonna do that Rossi thing.
Dude, so yeah, it's really funny.
What have you heard? Because I know you're like on the inside circle there.
So I haven't really talked to him on that, but yeah, I mean, he's been invited to the Rossi 100, I think, for many years. And you know, the Rossi 100 thing, for the people who don't know, is like, I mean, it's taken more seriously than a MotoGP race. So you go to Rossi's ranch. Oh yeah, these guys train all year for this weekend. And Rossi's track is not like, it's like, oh, it's like a turn track. It's not. It's like a road race track with gravel. And we're talking gravel, not like dirt. It's like pea gravel. And so there's no grip. Really difficult. Pegram was fast there as well. But yeah, JD podiumed there once, but he got invited back. And I know JD's been there once, but you also have to remember, you know, JD won the Super Prestigio.
Right.
And so that, to win the Super
First of all,
Prestigio,
like everybody that doesn't know, JD is a bad motherfucker.
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. I mean,
you know,
the Super Prestigio, you know, is that indoor flat track, and it's everyone. Doesn't matter what discipline. It's dirt, it's road racing, it's flat track, whatever. It's the best motorcycle riders in the world, you know, going to this event. And JD won every one of his events. He actually won the freestyle competition too, which was crazy. He did he did side saddle, he did laps, side saddle, dirt tracking. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Of course he did. Right. Yeah. Of course he did.
That's all that Danny Walker practice coming into play.
Right.
But so to win that Super Prestigio was really a big deal. So yeah, he's going back this year, and I heard that his mechanic is Hayden Gillum, so this ought to be interesting.
Yeah, I heard that last night too.
So good on him. Yeah, the Rossi thing. Yeah, it's people prep for this the entire year, and it is absolutely no joke. So it'll be interesting to see how he does.
I think Ricky Bobby said Sammy's going to that too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Sammy Halbert.
Sure.
Yeah, slamming Sammy.
Yeah,
I got to root for that dude. That guy's hilarious.
The problem is you show up and you like. I've known a couple of other people that have done it, and you don't know what bike you're getting. So so a lot of times a lot of times those guys will bring like their suspension, they'll bring their forks and shock or their wheels, and then that way they can put it on that chassis. But I don't know what JD's deal is there.
I'm sure what he'll be fine. Like he's gonna go out there and do his thing.
Dude, I wish it was televised. It would be freaking bad to see.
They should do a stream of it and charge people. Like I'd pay for that. That'd be rad.
Totally would. I think, yeah, I mean, off season, we're all chomping at the bit for stuff. So yeah,
right.
That's cool.
Yeah. So let's see what else I have on the agenda. Yeah. So what do you think is gonna happen in Superbike, man? We kind of touched it a little bit, but what do you think is gonna go there? Because like, you know, what did we know who's going where still? Like silly season's still kind of weird, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a couple conversations, but I mean, yeah.
Like, is there a second Ducati?
Don't know. Yeah, that one I don't know.
Second BMW? Well, I mean, Tyler's BMW, I mean?
I'm thinking it's going to be one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be one. I could be wrong, but that's sort of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I've heard the Ducati's going to one as well. You know, Attack has two, and M4, just one.
I'm hearing one right now. And
Richie, right?
Yeah, and it just depends on, I think, for the second bike, if they can get funding for it or not.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about last night. Like, dude, how does Posh not have a ride? Like,
dude, I mean, honestly,
a lot of dudes without rides.
Yeah, actually, Posh was another one that impressed me last year. I mean, I thought he rode well. Started to fall down a little bit at the end, but
yeah, I
mean, the bottom line is that was a tough environment to be in. But his pace at times was really good. So yeah, I mean, I thought he ended up doing a pretty stand-up job as well.
Dude, how do you think after a year on the bike, How do you think SDK is gonna go?
I don't know. I need to give Toy a call and just to get caught up with him a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so the beginning of the year when that was one 2024 thing that I think we got right, which was don't
yeah,
count out SDK. People are like,
yeah,
oh, no. I was like, no, you don't understand. You
yeah.
know,
Like SDK is a badass, dude.
yeah,
Like, what do you
and
mean he's not gonna go good?
yeah, he's got a good crew. I mean, he can ride a motorcycle. Don't count that guy out.
Right.
And I don't know what their I don't know what their off season plans on or what their testing is or what they're doing. But if he's riding that bike with that same crew, you're going
Yeah.
to see a step up. There's no,
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm seeing a pretty cool comment here from Cody Krager. He's like, dude, if it isn't a fist fight up front for Superbike, I will be super shocked. Fong, Gagne, Heron, Bobier, SDK, like, yeah,
Yeah, Cody, I mean, I think if you go back and you look at Road to Atlanta last year with Superbike, it was nuts, right?
yeah.
At least the first race.
I noticed he didn't say Richie in there. And dude, I gotta say, man, Richie, he broke his back at Road Atlanta and he was gone most of the season. And he comes out of injury reserve and he's fast.
If Richie's healthy and Richie has a bike underneath of him, he's kind of like SDK. Don't count that guy out. I've seen his
Right.
data. I've looked at his data,
Right.
and I can see what he's capable with. I see his inputs. Honestly, that guy should be, with the right circumstances, he's a podium guy. There's
Yeah.
no doubt based on the inputs that I'm seeing.
Right.
There's no
Right.
doubt. So yeah, I mean, Cody's spot on. I think it's going to be a knife fight. I mean, I hope it's a knife fight for sure. I mean, we all have our favorites, but I kind of don't want to know who's going to win. So
Yeah, I like not knowing who's gonna win. I just want our guys to win because, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Right?
So then I'll throw a hand grenade out here. What do you think is going to happen with Superbike in the future?
Man, I don't know. It just seems like the next gen stuff, like the next gen thing is kind of turning into like a mini Superbike kind of.
Trust me, I know. I've been studying links and
I'm
clamps and all
seeing the
that stuff.
fucking triple clamps and stuff, and
Mhm.
I'm like, what the fuck are they doing here? You know?
I don't
So
think it's,
are they trying to phase out the badass stuff? Like,
I don't think it's
what are we
good.
gonna do?
I don't want to be, I don't want to be pessimistic, but yeah, I actually don't think it's good right now. Yeah, I mean,
I hope Superbike stays. It's exciting. It's like big, evil, angry motorcycles and
awesome.
the geniuses in the background got to like work on the computer and make sure the bike behaves itself. It's awesome. Plus, the fans when they walk around, they see those things up close. It's like, I mean, I think I told you like last year at Laguna, Adam Waheed, he's like one of the
Yeah, I know Adam.
journalist guys, right? Like just good friend of mine. He's hilarious. I dig that guy. And he said something that just sounded just stupid to me. I was like, what are you talking about? And he was talking about how like the R1s really aren't whatever. And I was like, dude, come here. And I walked him into the tent and I showed him the bike up close. And he's like, wait a minute, what? Like he had no idea,
Yeah,
But when you look at it up close, you're like, oh shit, that's
it's no joke.
yeah.
I mean, go. I mean, I spent a bit of time like looking at JD's bike and Cam's bike last year, and you're looking at him, and you're just like, good Lord, these are just incredible.
And those all start life as like bikes you could buy. Like,
yeah.
Like I want that to still be an option. Like I want
Yeah.
Superbike to be the thing so we can keep buying ridiculously awesome stuff.
It's hard. It's really, I mean, I know it just, I mean, this is honestly why I want to go back and I want to look at a new leader bike. They're so good. They're so good. And the technology is so incredible.
Yeah.
That, I mean, yes. And I know we talked about how, I want to be able to ride any bike, but also riding something that has the latest technology on it, coming off of a corner, coming off of a third gear corner or second gear corner, when you get it right on a new modern bike, dude, there's nothing that is.
I like getting to the apex and just stabbing the thing and the electronics do their thing and the bike just drives forward instead of trying to flip over backwards.
Yeah. Hey, Cody. Yeah, and Aprilia RSV4 is actually on my list. It is on my list. There's some things I like about it, some things I'm not so. But yeah, I think they're
What
great.
is it about that you don't like? Because, like, I mean, obviously the sound of the Aprilia, the size of it, I've ridden one before. It's been years now, but
No, the
man,
ergonomics are actually
it was like a
great.
really, it was like an R6 with a bunch of power.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic. I haven't ridden one for a few years,
Yeah,
and I've ridden the latest. Um, I have ridden the latest electronics, but it's been a little bit. Well, on the current RSV4 is the electronics is from 2021, so it is still good
okay.
electronics, but it's not kind of the latest and greatest. And like if you ride a new 23 BMW, then you'll see what incredible,
BMW,
dude.
right?
We're honestly Ducati, right? Even
Right.
riding a 24 I've ridden 24 a Corsa V4R, and the electronics I mean it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So RSV4, the only things that I don't like about the RSV4 are a little bit dated out electronics, and the swing arm's a little bit shorter than what I would like. But
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, the throttle, the hand to the rear wheel,
Yeah.
like I think the R1 is sort of like the benchmark for the throttle to
Right.
the rear wheel.
I was
The
just gonna say that.
the RSV is better. I mean, honestly,
The RSV is better than
it is.
wow, the
It is.
2020 and up
Yeah,
R1, huh?
2021 and up. Yeah, it is better.
Really?
So that bike is on my short list.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And no, Zach, I don't have a Tuono. I've got a few FZ1s, which are just like the most incredible bike in the world. And then I've got, I just bought a new Street Triple RS. So that's that's my current inventory. So yeah, the RSV4 definitely on my short list.
So how do you, based on our what to ride, the club racer stuff, the super bike stuff, I mean, dude, like you have a dog in the super sport fight still, right? Or did
Yeah, so
Street Swimmer?
yeah, let's talk about that. So yeah, I mean, I've been working with CJ now for just over 4 years, and I'm just beyond blessed to be in his camp and his environment, and it is great. It's funny, you talk about the super sport. I mean, we were faster at every single track this year. And of course, we had Mid Ohio, which was new, but CJ crushed his personal best there. I mean, we were faster at every single track. Some tracks, it was only 4/10, but other tracks we were over 2.5 seconds faster. 2.5 seconds faster. And there's places where we qualified a second faster or second half faster, but we were literally 10 positions back. I mean, that's the median in super sport.
It's made it hard.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And, I can remember having a conversation, for instance, like with Max Van, and Max Van came on, really well at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Max Van thought, well, top 10 is like nothing. And of course, the first part of the year, he's running 15th, 16th, 17th.
Right.
And he's just like what is going on here? Yeah. So yeah, super sport is interesting. So for 2025, we're doing things, we're stepping up quite a bit in our camp, which is, which is not, I mean, honestly, God bless CJ for, he's like, look, I want to get really good at this. And he had improvements, but he didn't have the placing improvements. We didn't meet that goal. Our performance, like the lap time goal was great, but we didn't meet it. So he's like, he's pissed about it. Right. So we want to improve.
Nice.
So what we did is we had a few riders approach us about riding with us, and, they liked our environment and they liked the way that we did things. So we're actually taking on another rider this year. And so we're actually going to step things up. We're going to have more of a full-time crew. We're going to be, building bikes and doing all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit of a step up for us. So things, that's part of the off season. That's been,
sticking with the Suzuki thing.
Yep. Suzuki's. And we've got definitely got
all that next gen shit to go on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just what we know. We have got a lot of data for it.
Clamps.
And well,
you guys do Brembo calipers yet?
Well, don't they come stock with them? I mean,
you know what I mean.
I do. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, we've got a really good network of people that is like triple clamps. links, all those things. I mean, we're going to be getting those, and again, that's part of our whole test protocol. And we've got plenty of suspension. We've got electronics. We have a technical guy that went to, has gone to electronics school. So, I mean, we're hopefully being able to step up our program a little bit, be able to give the riders what they need.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, like we do these silly shows to talk about and shed light on the sport, right? And the reality is, like, we're all just part of this motorbike community, and we're doing the things that we think that we need to do to, help the motorbike community. Is that accurate? Like, did you say?
Yeah. So I think, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Is that,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm the luckiest guy in the world to get to do what I do, right? So I'm beyond blessed. And when I can jump on a motorcycle, and I feel like I mentioned, I can get on any bike and have a great time with it. It just doesn't, or even in a car, doesn't matter. I can just have a great time because I can use the techniques and all that stuff. It's great. Doesn't matter if it's pouring rain out. I don't care. I'll ride.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of what we want to be able to bring to other people and be able to share that, is that that ability and that passion just to be able to go, I can do this. I've got the tools and techniques. And that's part of, the training that we provide. It's process training, right? It's training of fundamentals, and it's being able to take those fundamentals and place them wherever you need them, and call them out whenever you need them.
No, what you need to do is just follow me everywhere, and I need you to paint all my turn-in marks and apex mark and exit marker, and just like, you know what, dude? I just need you to go stripe the track for me, like a manual.
So, it's funny. It's funny. People said my shit's harder, and it is. And the reason is because it's like learning a language, right? It's like learning to play the piano, right? You have to learn a process. You have to learn fundamentals, and you start literally at square one, inch one, right? And then you got to keep building those inches and build them and build them and build them. Yeah. And honestly, it sucks. I mean, the beginning, it sucks, but if you want to get really good, you've got to be able to put your time in, and you got to put your reps in, have the right procedure and the right process. Yeah. And that's what will get you there. I mean, JD's a great example of this, right? I've worked with JD for years. And when we were really hot and heavy working with stuff with JD, like we'd be like, okay, we're going to, I'll make it up, right? We're going to Laguna. So he'd call me up and go to turn track. So he'd be riding turn track during the week. And he's like, hey, I'm going to change my turn track. So my turn track I've got a turn that enters like the corkscrew. So I want to be able to so he would come to Laguna having already run through the corkscrew at his turn track 1,000 times. So, but that's, that's just how it is. And everybody, of course, doesn't want to spend the time to do that. But yeah, it is hard. But yeah, I mean, my goal like with the Substack stuff is to be able to provide people the opportunity to
share our sport with others.
Dude, there's nothing like it. There's nothing freaking like it. There just isn't.
Hey, last year you had some surgery on the knee, right?
Yeah.
How'd that go? How'd that work out?
Pretty well, actually. Yeah. So, I rode 5,000 pedal miles this year. So I got my 5,000 in.
Not like such a slacker. I only did like 4,600.
Yeah, I did 5,000. Average 20 miles an hour too, by the way.
Oh, nice.
So, so I did 5,000, but I actually backed off. And the reason I backed off is because cycling for me has always been a major point of reference, because, I cycled as a kid, and, that has just been like if I'm not performing well on my bike, then I think the rest of my life sucks, is basically what it works to. So, but the problem is I didn't really ride for the last couple of years before my knee surgery, because I just really couldn't do it. Yeah. So jacked up to ride. So I pedaled and had a great time. Well, as I've gotten more mature, we'll say that I
don't know what that means.
Yeah, you do. And so, as I'm getting old, I found that, the cycling was great. My power numbers were coming up. I was having a great time in group rides, but I was noticing that areas that I was struggling with, like, for instance, like my hips, right? My hips are just not my hips hurt. And so I decided to go back, and it's like, okay, cycling a lot is making me a better cyclist. It's not making me better all around. So I backed off on cycling in early November. I'm back doing yoga. I'm back doing strength training. And so if I was doing 100% of my sort of exercise on cycling, I'm now doing, I would say, 50% yoga, 25% strength training, and 25% cycling. So the knee is doing great. And I'm actually able to do almost everything that I was able to do, years ago in yoga. I'm like that close with my knees. So I'm super happy.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned the knee because I've been having like knee stuff, right? And so, I went and saw Dr. Brian and I had him take a look and he's like, dude, your ligaments are fine. Oh, wait, your IT band's like a guitar string, dude. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so, thankfully I don't need surgery or anything. I just need to like do the
Not be a lazy ass. Don't be a lazy ass. Don't be a lazy ass.
I need to do the IT band stretches stuff. But like I kind of jacked my knee up on the tour. And so it paused, dude. I took a pause for the rest of the year mostly. I mean, since the tour I probably rode maybe 500 miles, and like every time I'd ride, my knees like bugging me, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So
yeah, I mean, I'm more about, I want to make sure that as far as being sort of on the complete athlete side, I mean, the cycling's great. I don't need to worry about my cardiorespiratory is fine. I'm not too worried about it, but I need to be.
I just like the cycle. Like to me, like I've been going through something, man. Like I think I talked to you about this before, but like, man, I didn't grit up for a race once last year. First time in over like 26 years, right? And like it's been like a little bit of like a mental thing for me to not do that. But the cycling has kind of like been like a go-to for that.
It's been 100% was when I stopped racing in 2007. I immediately got back into cycling hard because and I raced a lot, and that was my competitive fix.
Yeah.
And I struggle with competitive issues. I mean,
yeah, me too, man. Like I'm like going into the whole thing. It was like,
yeah, it's because you had a fucking penis. That's why.
Do I still call myself a racer? Like what?
Nah, I mean, it's just
so like, and I talked about this a lot. I even had a chat with Jeremy Toy about it. And Caesar Mesa was like, dude, you're a racer. Shut up. Like you can race whenever you want. That's what I do. And I'm like, oh, you know what? You're right, bro. And the Jeremy's stuff was like, dude, you know why you're messed up? Because you thought all that stuff mattered. And I was like, you know what? Jeremy busted me big time on that because like, all that like we were talking about the beginning of the show, right? Like when I was involved in that stuff, dude, all that shit really mattered. But now I'm not in that loop at all anymore. And it really doesn't matter for me anymore, But
yeah, I'm back to focusing on what matters for my health, and I'm not worried. So let me a quick little.
Cycling is like a mental health thing too.
Yeah, total mental health. I think I got called out last year on this myself. I got called out by my my Top Gun buddy, and we were having coffee. We're having coffee, and we're talking about stuff. He's just incredible source, and actually we're supposed to have coffee again in a couple of weeks. I just talked to him, and he says, Ken, back when I was flying, and this is the 90s, he goes, we show up one morning, briefing room, and on all of our briefing desks was a book called The Inner Game of Tennis. And he goes, it was for a Marine pilot, it was mandatory reading. And he's like, what do we read in a book on tennis? Well, basically the inner game of tennis is about ego. And it's about how once you remove your ego, you can actually get shit done. And so, of course, they gave this to a bunch of fighter pilots. So yeah, that has been a good read, and it has changed my trajectory on a few things. So
I guess I should look that up then.
Inner Game of Tennis. It's a great book.
You gotta read more.
You gotta read. No, you gotta read a lot. Hey, some questions here. These are some fun ones, actually. So let's see here.
Are you gonna do the 200?
I would do the 200 in a minute. Yeah, I've never done it. I'd love to do the 200 if there was a right opportunity. I'd do the 200 a minute. I'd love it.
Yeah.
But
How about your rider, tree trimmer? Is he doing 200?
no, but dude, I hope he doesn't listen to this because he so badly wants to do the 200. He has unfinished business there. And I told him that he could do the 200 if he's gotten a top 5, right? And I think, you know, we were in 2023, I think we got a 6th, I think it was. So we were close. And then we got punched in the face this year. So
no 200 until he gets top 5.
That's correct.
Dude, let's use the show to like, you know, let's prod him on the show. Like, hey,
I'd love to do it. Cody had some interesting questions. Does Ken know what happened to the super sport class when they got rid of the super stock 600 class? That's when Grays left. Yeah. So in 2018, when Moto America went to the super stock motors, those were literally stock motors.
Right.
And in 17, the R6s were mini super bikes. I mean, they were kind of actually very close to what we had now. And they were incredibly fast. I mean, I have data from Coda, from, I think it was Gerloff or JD, I can't remember which one. Like, it was 174 miles an hour at Coda on a 600. I mean, it was unfreaking believable how fast the bike was. And yeah, so they were little mini rocket ships. And yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, you'd have to ask Chuck that question, but I mean, Yamaha kind of got away from factory support in the 600 class then. I mean, they had JD, and, you know, they ran JD in 2018, but after that, it was pretty much done. But yeah, I don't know.
I'd like to see Chuck come back to the Nationals, you know? I mean, I know he's been like tiptoeing in with Cowie and stuff.
It'd be great.
It'd be cool to see that guy come back, but dude, he's not going to come back on his own time.
He's not. No,
he's not like Richard that just is like, fuck it, let's go racing.
No, I mean, Chuck stuff is so good. I mean, I've used Chuck stuff for years and years and years, and we still use Chuck stuff, and we actually use Chuck to help advise us on a bunch of things. And I mean, let's put it so, you know, like everybody talks about Chuck Walla lap times, right? Like, oh my God, 600 Chuck Walla lap times, and everybody's going fast. 2018, we show up to Chuck Walla with the Rick team with 2 brand new Graves bikes, and they tested for a couple of days. Out of the box, the only thing they changed on that bike was the fork springs for Hayden.
Yeah.
Hayden in 2018 did a 44 flat on a 600. And he's like, well, if you give me, he goes, I'll go in the 43s. You know, this is 6 years ago. Whenever, you know, so yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable how fast he went on a bone stock.
Haven's quite a bit faster there now, I hear.
Yeah, and again, that was the 2018 bike, which was a stock motor. So, I mean, unbelievable lap time. But yeah, the Graves stuff was. I mean, I've had nothing but success with it. We counted it up with CJ when CJ ran the Graves stuff. But even on the 750s, I think we've done 280 sessions at Moto America. So that's practice, qualifying, and races over the years. And we had one mechanical failure. One.
That's interesting, man. Yeah. Like all of that from the 200 discussion.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the 200 is, it's like you take half your year's budget and you throw it at the 200, and then either you win or you destroy all your shit and your riders are in the hospital. That's literally
like last year. I mean, I know how much effort that the attack team puts into anything they do, and you know, it takes away valuable time from the superbike effort to put together that Daytona effort. So they built the bikes and everything, and I was there. You know, I can't really say what I still don't know what happened to the engine, but I mean, the dude rode all weekend and he was doing well. Like, I think he qualified pretty close to the front. You know, might have been P2, I forget. But he goes out, does one lap, and then the race is happening. I hadn't seen it on the monitor yet, and like one lap into the race, Richard's like, "Okay, guess we're going home now." And he takes his headphones off, and I'm like, "What the fuck is that?"
I've been to enough Daytonas. I haven't been to, many Daytonas, whatever, I don't know, 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah.
But it's either your rider in the camp that I was in, you know, we won one year. but it's either that or you've yard sailed all your shit and your guys are freaking broken. I mean,
Yeah.
there's that's how Daytona is, and it's unfortunate, but that's
I
Daytona.
mean, it's and then like I guess that we had the one year where Cam P lost it by 0.007. I mean, it's like, Daytona, you could be.
And Gagne got screwed up.
Oh yeah, Gagne, yeah. Yeah, I got yelled at for being late to the track that morning because apparently I didn't get the memo that practice was early that day. So
welcome to Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, Daytona is fun though because Daytona just I like going there just because it's like people watching is stellar. The ghetto chicken wing spot, right? Like, I mean, yeah, like I dig Daytona, but Richard said we're not going to Daytona, so guess what? We're not going.
There you go.
So
what else
sounds like August Nord's racing. I don't know what she's doing, some kind of hooligan thing, I think.
I mean, honestly, there's so many, there's so many things to talk about. I mean, Superbike, we talked about.
Yeah.
Obviously, we spent a lot of time on Super Sport. I mean, the baggers is going to be another freaking knife fight deal.
Like, is the bagger class sustainable at all? Because it's like, dude, they came out swinging. There was a million of those things, and now there's like 8.
Yeah, so that's my biggest issue with the baggers right now is I think they're so cost prohibitive to have a front running bike. You're going to have 8 badass guys on 8 badass bikes. But honestly, and I mean, and every time I watch them, I'm blown away how fast they are. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely blown away. But yeah, there's just not that many of them. And, 2 guys, if a bike breaks or has an issue, then it's not a good time.
Yeah.
Honestly, the class that I get jacked up about, that I've been jacked up about, is hooligans. I mean,
dude, I fucking love hooligans.
I know.
Dude, Roland Sands cracks me up. That dude he's like he's quite the visionary for that. And there's so many bikes in that class. There's Yamahas, Harleys, Indians.
Well, we got factory
Ducatis.
Involvement. We have factory involvement.
And there's factory Indian and factory Harley involved.
Oh, don't think that there wasn't a little factory Yamaha stuff going on too.
Yeah. Strack is doing that too, right?
Well, no, last year.
Yeah. I think Chuck Chiquetto was doing.
There was a little something going on in
right?
There.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm jacked.
I think there's even a Triumph out there. Like there's all kinds.
Yeah,
KTM. Like. Yeah. Dude, like literally, like damn near every manufacturer's in the hooligans class.
Look at Fillmore at Mid Ohio.
Yeah,
he grabs a 990R, which is not available yet, and goes out there as a he couldn't get any points, but he freaking leads the race for a little bit, riding out of his skin. Yeah, I mean that was just a great show.
And then obviously there's the Twins Cup. That class is like a little mini superbike class as well.
So fast.
It's insane, like what those guys are doing. I don't know what that class is going to look like. Like, is Gus Rodeo moving up to Super Sport?
Heard he is, but I don't know. Cody's got Cody has a great question. And Cody, I'll have more answers to this in about a month. The new Junior Cup class. And I don't know how many are doing it. I can tell you that. Either. Yeah, I can tell you that I'll have more information on how the bikes are and how they work. In about a month.
I think I know Eli Block.
I'll be at some stuff with those bikes.
I think Eli Block's been riding those a little bit. We'll have to talk. You know what? Next time we do a show, I will have talked to Eli Block and get his info.
I should have information by the end of the month. I doubt I'll be able to ride one, but there's an opportunity maybe happening. So
because it's like a Kramer kind of thing?
Kramer with KTM motor.
Yeah, it's a 390 motor, right? Like it's a.
Dude, I don't even know the size of the freaking thing.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
But it's like it looks like an actual chassis with like. Yeah. Good brakes and suspension.
Yeah, they've had a lot of pre-production stuff that they tested. I know I didn't actually talk to Troy from motorcycle.com, who I've done some work with.
Yeah.
He rode one at Barber, pre-production one. Even John Kaczynski rode one, which was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so they now supposedly are going to have some production stuff out, production motors, and hopefully I'll be at some testing with those things.
You know, I mean, Moto America, since they started, they've been talking about that path to MotoGP for Americans, right? Do you think that new little Kramer thing is closer to like a Moto3 bike, maybe?
So there's ways to answer that question. You can get the really short version, or you can get the really long version.
Well, we're an hour and 15 in, Ken, so give us the cliff notes, buddy.
Okay, yeah, I know. Well, I think this is a great step. And, you know, I think I do like the Ninja 400, right? The whatever the spec class or whatever, whatever it is, right? I do like that idea.
Right.
But I think the problem, so the short answer is, I think the KTM or the Kramer is a much better opportunity for riders to ride a prototype type of a motorcycle to go that path. Right. Absolutely. So that's the short answer. The long answer is, we in America need to figure out what the F we want to do, who we are. Meaning, are we production-based bikes? Or are we prototype-based bikes?
Right.
Because all that's going to do, and I'm sorry, this sounds horrid, but all that's going to do is tell you who's the fastest, you know, junior cup kid. It's not going to lead to, you know, anything in Europe. The way that we got riders to Europe, and this is funny, I had a conversation with Freddie Spencer last year about this, you know, asking him back in his world, like when he got to go to Grand Prix. But even if you look at Kenny Roberts and Freddie Spencer, and you look at all those people, how did they get to Europe? They got to Europe by the OEMs.
Right.
So OEMs are the ones that sponsored them to go to Europe so they could have this pathway. And we don't have that pathway. So it's going to take some of these kids that are out there now busting their ass. Like, look at Rossi Moore, right? I mean, you got to give a massive, you know, shout out to those guys for sticking with it. Unbelievable having, you know, going and trying to keep that European thing going, because, and also, like, honestly, Jay Uribe is another great example, right? Jay spent so many years in Europe. And one of the things that he talked about is, you know, going through that process is the way that you're brought up in that environment is, one, you can ride anywhere, of course. There's constant coaching available, constant racing available, but it's the processes, right? There's a standardized processes for riding these bikes, and we just don't have that. Right. So do I think we're going to get more kids to Europe because of this? No, we're not. But is it a step in the right direction? Yeah, I think it helps.
That's cool, man. I know that Christian Daniel, the Red Bull rookie kid, he's like in town. I think he's going to do a little, huh?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like in town. He's going to be doing some coaching at Apex next week, I think.
Interesting.
People can come ride with
Cody. Cody talked about Cody. I don't have an answer for that, but I can tell you that if the test that I'm going to is any indication, they're trying different tires for those bikes, and I won't know till after that event is over. But yes, they are doing a big tire test on those bikes this month.
The reality is, it's a national platform for you to come and develop your the youth talent on a national level. I don't think that people are going to skip that opportunity. So when there's a will, there's a way. People will figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, you know, as far as like if someone from Europe is looking at you and you won a Junior Cup championship on a Ninja 400 versus more of a prototype bike, yeah, you're definitely going to have more, you know, chops riding the prototype bike, and it's going to require a completely different process, in my opinion, on what the Ninja 400 is going to be. Yeah, and it'll take some time, right? Like Cody mentioned, like the tires, right? Figuring out how the bikes use the tires, you know, all those different things is going to take some teething to get those things figured out. And that's just part of the process.
Right on, man. Well, Ken, dude, we're like almost an hour and 20 into this thing.
I know
we could have gone 2 more hours just on club racing BS, right?
I know. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, these are always fun, Dustin. And it's funny.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there just wasn't anything right to be able to tune into or to
Right.
read, or you had to wait for your freaking Road Racing World or whatever,
Right.
whatever
And
that is. So
motorcyclist and sport writer and
yeah,
cycle news. Like, you basically had to spend a lot of time on the shitter to like get news.
yeah. I
Right.
mean, so to have stuff like this, yeah, I would have. Oh my god, I would have killed for this stuff.
Oh
So
my God.
totally.
And then what do you think about Kenny running a team?
I don't know much. I don't know much about that.
Kenny's running a team?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically kind of in charge of that whole program,
Which program?
the Junior Cup program.
Oh, no
So
shit.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, I haven't talked to. I owe kind of overdue on talking to Chuck Axland about that. I mean, Chuck and Kenny obviously worked together for years. Chuck's a badass, total
Oh,
badass.
I know, dude.
The guys,
that guy like gives me time, and I'm like, dude, who the fuck am I?
nah, Chuck
Right.
is a freaking badass, and he
Yeah.
does not get enough credit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think getting Kenny involved with that I think that's important, right? Is because
Right.
he's, I mean, he's had that pathway, and of course, I mean, he built motorcycles in Europe. I mean, and I'm just using that as examples. He knows that system fairly well, and I think it's important having someone like that as a point of reference. I think it's great.
I think that's cool, man. Well, you know what, Ken, always a good time, buddy. And thanks everybody for watching this stuff. If you haven't already, mash all the buttons, like, subscribe, all that. And I guess
Yeah,
we'll
subscribe
catch
to my
you on-
Substack. Subscribe to my
yeah. Here, let me do the banner one more time.
Oh my god.
Got to do the banner. Yeah, check out Ken's Substack right there.
Somewhere.
Yeah, right there. All right. Well, Ken,
Dustin,
dude,
thanks.
super good time, man.
All right.
Always a fun chat, buddy.
All right, we'll chat.
Yeah, man.